In security. I work at an airport as a law enforcement agent. One morning, roughly 4 a.m., me and my colleague were on our way to an arriving flight. We got at security and were ready to pass. Mind you, we must pass through the metal detector, but we are not to be inspected. We can carry anything we need to do our job. And we carry weapons, etc. So we will always set off the alarm. We have a special pass that'll allow us clearance. We don't need that pass to carry it. Just to go through security. We approach security and I suddenly realize I left my pass in my jacket in my locker. Flight was due any minute. So I decided to dodge the bullet and go through and be inspected. That did not sit well with the guard, and he was like, "You can't go through the detector like this. And you can't use the security procedure. No pass. Then no passage." Finally he got me and had the power. Basically forcing me to go back and be late. Then it dawned on me. In front of the guard and 1 foot away from the detector, I took off all my gear. Emptied my pockets, etc. Gave everything to my colleague who did bring her pass. I went through the detector clean as can be. No alarms. 1 foot after the detector, my colleague handed me my stuff. I put everything back on and with the biggest smile I wished him a wonderful day. The expression on his face was priceless. We burst into laughing around the corner. Edit. I have other law enforcement credentials which grants me the legal right to carry whatever I need to do my job. With it I can demand access anywhere and take anything with me. Only at airport security do I need a special pass. A corporate pass as you like. To take my stuff. It'll just cover the area passing through the metal detector. I have an access card for the secured area at the airport. It just doesn't cover the materials I take. So back then, 2010-ish, I needed 3 cards. Law enforcement cred secure area pass carry anything I need pass. They assimilated the last 2 into 1. These days. Kinda reminded me of one of my friends who worked at airport renovation, construction. They drove work van to a gate, got out of the van and went through the security check, and then drove the van to the secure airport area. One day he had a pocket knife with him when going through security. He had to take the knife back to his van, then clear the security, and after that he drove the van in. Sometimes strict rules create bizarre situations. I wish this sub hated American airport security theater as much as it hates HOAs. It's malicious compliance. For sure. But I kinda am on the guard's side here. He was following the rules of his job for good reason. I'm sure it could be a major liability if someone dressed as security and armed but without the proper credentials could be snuck through this way. It doesn't take a lot of imagination to think how this could go badly. Maybe assisted by a less scrupulous, disgruntled security agent. And in that case at best the guard could lose his job and at worst could endanger a lot of people. It wasn't his fault you forgot your pass. Obviously that's not what was happening here. And hopefully the guard knew your face as someone typically allowed entry. And that's why he let you get away with it. But, yeah. If you don't have your pass, how do they know it wasn't recently revoked? With all these comments about the things TSA misses, I figure I'll share my story. I went from Dallas to Wyoming via Denver about 10 years back. The 1911 that was in my checked bag wasn't. I was on the plane and pulling my hoodie out of my carry-on when I found the lockbox in the bottom. I just kept my mouth shut. Some law enforcement people may think the rules don't apply to them. So, the guard was careful to not break protocol in a potentially life-critical scenario. Okay then. TSA is a joke. In the last year I have traveled with forbidden objects and was only stopped once for a fork leftover from a picnic. During that same stop I carried on with a steak knife from said picnic. WTF. My fork is contraband, but my actual knife that could be considered a realistic weapon is totally fine. Then I sit down next to some lady who is kinting. I guess because her hefty needles appeared to be bamboo. That is fine. Keep in mind that I only travel with a backpack. X-ray and open inspection, and yet it was a fork. Belt off. Shoes off. Dump my bag. FFS, stop molesting me. I just want to go from point A to point B. So you're bragging about cheating the process as a law enforcement agent? Way to set an example for others to follow rules. It's a wonder why people think law enforcement agents believe themselves privileged and above the law. I'm sure you would have ratted on the security guard if he would have just let you go without your badge. This is just real dumb to brag about. Not sure if you know this and just getting a kick out of people pointing out how bad this looks, or if you're just ignorant of the optics. Unfortunately, you people keep getting promoted. So, I guess when you next stop someone that doesn't have the correct paperwork, you'll have a little giggle and let them on their way, right? Because you think you should be allowed to? This isn't really MC. There's a policy in place. And airports are no joke with this stuff. I have clients in airports I visit weekly, so I'm very familiar with TSA. The guard that stopped you would most likely get in trouble if they let you through. They did their job because they had to. And if they let you slip this time, then you'd want them to let you slip next time. You forgot your pass and weren't allowed in a secure area. This is how it works. Our Operation Grabass stopped me at security because the screwdriver I was carrying was too long. So I separated the driver from the tool and they VSA'd good to go. Now, idiots. Op is a dick for laughing at the guy for trying to do his job and protect people from actual harm. TSA is a joke and is actual security theater. The individuals working for the TSA don't get enough training and are not really paid enough to do the job properly. This post doesn't make a ton of sense to me. You forgot your credentials and you were allowed to circumvent the screening anyway by handing off your equipment to a friend. I've not been to an airport that forces Leos to go through screening anyway. Especially when they're going to set off the metal detector. Leos have alternate access, including the exit lane. Are you a real Leo, and is this a TSA checkpoint or one that's run private? Anyone who thinks like Op should not be in law enforcement. TSA is such a useless waste of taxpayers' money.
Pig.
1. People used to fly with pistols in their pockets. And nothing bad happened. But people are different today. Point 2. I am old enough to have walked right up to the gate and hugged someone as they disembarked the plane. We used to go meet up in the airport lounge for dinner, sometimes with friends who had layovers. I am most disenchanted at the world you youngins are building. It is most perturbatory. Indeed. I'll never forget the definitely a fever dream about when I dreamed I was sitting at my gate and went digging through my work bag looking for headphones and grabbed the handle of my 11.5 full tang Gerber LH2 combat knife. The same one I carried in Iraq. Made it through security without a second glance. Only realizing then that it had fallen off my dresser at some point into my open laptop bag. A roller with a fat mouth that routinely sat open next to the dresser when I worked from home. I immediately shut my bag, went and purchased headphones, and checked it for the flight home that week. It was a good dream. Cold sweat smile.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.